Here we go. We are back for another HNL Tonight show with hockey coach Guru, Coach Frenchy directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. Happy Wednesday night, everybody, from you guys. Happy Thursday morning for the people in Thailand. Happy Thankfully Day. And today, guys, we have an amazing, great show because we are for the first time in the house. I'm going to welcome Jacob Billington directly from the Nova Scotia in Canada. He covered two teams. He's going to talk about both teams. First, the Winnipeg Jets. So we're going to talk about that team where they have a lot of drama or something. I don't know. He's going to tell us what's going on over there. And of course, he's going to talk about the Carolina Hurricane, where they are well structured, well coached by the coach Rob Brendamo. We talk about the young prospect they have. They are one of the top best team in NHL with the most prospect. And so we're definitely talking about those kind of players they have already. But first of all, like we do every single time, we welcome everybody in the chat. You guys, you make that chat better every single time by the way you ask a question and the way you respect each one of you. So we want to thank everybody. First of all, going to welcome a couple of people already in the chat. The moderator of the Hockey Nation Live Show, Mr. Luciano Graziano, is in the house. Welcome aboard. The captain of the moderator, back from Orleans, Ottawa, Ontario. Ottawa, no, but Orleans. Mr. Danny T is in the house. My co-host of the show warm-up start October 1st, guy. Our warm-up shows return for the next season, October 1st, 6 o'clock p.m. With my co-host Enartab is already in the house. And Mr. Stu back in the house. Welcome back, Mr. Stu. We have saw earlier, we saw Mr. Vinny 007 won the Frenchy quiz yesterday, and we have Mr. Game-winning goal hockey. We know he's under the name of Bobby Bag of the Nuts. And we have Mr. Stefan Member from Sweden is in the house tonight. Stefan, hopefully you're doing well. Thanks to be with us. William Snyder returned in the house. William from the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. Champion of the Stanley Cup 2021. We have from Winnipeg, Manitoba, the biggest Jets fans in the house tonight, Mr. Dan et Colette Hacham. And I think I did around everybody, and until we find our new friends from the Calgary, Mr. Randy Walkman is in the house. Thanks so much, Randy, to be a part of the show. Randy was with us a couple of days ago. And my other co-host of the HABS Branch Morning Show, your Sunday rendezvous, every Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Marco Larabi is in the house tonight. Thanks to be a part of the show, Mr. Marco. Oh, the big friend of the Boston Bruins is back in the house. Mr. Ross Staubington is in the house tonight. Welcome back, Mr. Ross. Glad to see you. By the way, I play the music Summer Night at the beginning of the show because, we are under the transition. Some of you are still maybe on the last day of the summer. Like me, I'm already on my first day of the fall. And that's what we are really now knocking the door for the upcoming season 2022-2023 for the month for the NHL. I can wait. The hockey all the main camp usually should be start already. A lot of teams are looking for a better year for upcoming year, and we welcome NCAA, welcome aboard. Thanks for being a part of the show. And Mr. Kevin Francis is in the house tonight. Thanks so much to be a part of the show. I'm sure I know he's in the green room, and I'm sure he said, Coach, are you done to talking? When I'm going to talk, because I want to talk about the Jet and the Cane. So let's further ado to welcome for the first time inside of the Hockey Nation Live Show. Please welcome Mr. Jacob Billington from Nova Scotia. Welcome in the house, Mr. Jacob. Thanks to be a part of the Hockey Nation Live Show.
I'm happy to be here. That was a really impressive intro, all the way from the start of the stream up until introducing everybody here. It was awesome.
Thanks so much, Mr. Jacob. But I'm sure I will call you. I will call you at some point, Jason. I know it will happen at some point. But first of all, if you people of you follow you are on the Twitter, the best way to join him or to reach him is Jacob Billing with GT10. Really curious about this one, Mr. Jacob. See, I put the name Jason right there. So I'll give you an idea. I put a mistake right there. So I remember we talked about this earlier. I said I make some mistake left and right at some point. But we know it's Jacob. But why the name Jacob Billing with number 10 at the end? I'm sure you have some kind of signification over there.
Well, if I'm going to be honest, it started just because Jacob Billington was taken, and then so I just kind of threw the 10 at the end because it kind of fits. And
Any
it was
favorite
actually one of
players
the ones
with
that was
number 10 in hockey, or it was just a number? That's it.
just a number.
Okay.
It was I was
So
number 20 in hockey, so
So tell us a little bit more about you. Give us a little bit of resume or bio, what you do, everything like this in the world of the hockey. I'm sure you're from Nova Scotia, you have a really passion about hockey for sure.
well, yeah, growing up here, I mean, like looking at Sidney Crosby, and now we got Nathan McKinnon and Brad Marchand. Getting into hockey was not hard. Everybody here just loves their hockey, and so when you look at the organizations that are around, so like you got the QMJHL, there's lots of teams around. The Maritime Hockey League, there's like lots of teams local. There's always hockey to go to. Even people around here like to go to just minor hockey tournaments and just have fun at the rink. It's quite common. But yeah, so I full time I work in the school systems. Um, but in my off time, I love writing about hockey. So I've been with HOCKEYBUZZ writing about the Jets for just about a year now. I think a year in October. And just
Wow.
last month, I started with the hockey writers doing the Carolina Hurricanes. So I'm super excited to get into the Hurricane stuff too.
That's awesome. I got a couple. You read your article. You do it look like you do really know your hockey. So I'm glad to having you aboard for sure. We would like to welcome Matthew SLATER. Andy Koivula is back in the house. Big fan of the Edmonton Oilers. Joined us this morning. Thanks to be a part of Chicago Bear Fans 97. All three welcome inside of the show. Um, I know you have another full-time job, but what's your routine about the hockey bars or when you write? Like what, like the season start example, like do you watch hockey, the Western game, and how, what do you normally your routine per every week's example?
Well, it is tough because I live on the East Coast. I'm an hour ahead of Eastern time, so I'm in the Atlantic time. So catching up on the Jets games gets pretty tough, especially getting up and being at work for 8 o'clock. I do see the question in the chat here asking if I'm a Jets fan. I grew up a Senators fan, and have been for my whole life. And so getting into the Jets was really easy because it's another Canadian team. It's easy to follow. But again, watching the games is pretty hard. I do manage fine, and especially if I'm watching an Eastern team, that game's ending just as the Jets are starting, so it works out pretty well.
Yeah, you're what 3 hours behind the Winnipeg Jet game, or
Yeah, so they're 2 hours behind Eastern. I'm an hour ahead, so yeah, got the 3 hour difference.
yeah, it's a bit like when I was in the at the Eastern time, it was like 3 hours for the Pacific time. So for me, I thought I would tell you I would follow all the Team Eastern Conference because the game starts at 7 o'clock, and then the next one after that 9, 8, 9, not too bad, but at 10 o'clock, the Vancouver or the Vegas or it's a little bit difficult to follow them compared to the rest of the league. Unfortunately, it is what it is, right? Now in tail end, Mr. Jacob, I wake at 4 o'clock, so I have a chance to watching the game at 6 o'clock a.m. and then I can pick all the game the Western Conference next year. I'm excited about this. I can watching the Kings, the Canucks, and I'll be a little bit more aware of what's going on around the 32 team now. When I'm going to be every day to watching the hockey game. But we want to welcome back Mr. Tony And Run with Kings 20, welcome back, everybody. Steve G, another big fan of the Colorado Avalanche. Welcome to be a part of the show. We're going to fire up everything with you, Mr. Jacob. First of all, the off-season 2022 for the Winnipeg Jets, well, maybe not the way maybe the fan was expecting. And a little bit, tell us a little bit about Chival Day off overall, what it looked like, his job, what you think about what he accomplished during the off-season for the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, I think the biggest frustration with Kevin Cheveldayoff among Jets fans is that he hasn't done much, and which is really frustrating for them because they have so many prospects that are just about ready to make that jump, and they're still signing guys like David Riddick when they have Burden coming and almost ready to take the net for the backup at least. And then they have a plethora of defense ready to go and even a couple forwards. And they just drafted 2 really skilled players in Brad Lambert and Rutger McGroarty in the first round. And so like they have a great amount of prospects. I think on paper, so the biggest moves that Cheveldayoff made this summer was signing Kyle Capobianco, Dave Riddick, and Sam Gagner. That's a lot of not much. I am a fan of the Sam Gagner signing, but bringing him in is kind of a prospect block at this point, so it can definitely be frustrating.
Yeah, definitely about this. I think the fan will maybe expect a bit more. We know all the rumor trade bait between MEILLEUR and Shifley at some point. We're going to talk about the new head coach in the next couple of minutes. But what you think about is not his prospect, but the picks they did in Montreal during the June for the NHL draft 2022 in July. I'm sorry.
I was a huge fan of the picks. Rutger McGroarty, a lot of people weren't as high on him, especially with Jonathan Lekeri-Mackey and a couple other players still hanging around. But Rutger McGroarty can be a really perfect player on Kyle Connor's other wing. And I think that's just like one of the most ideal players to go up there. And then Brad Lambert, I'm super excited for. He really struggled over in Finland. I'm hoping to see him go to the WHL this year with the Seattle Thunderbirds. But I'm not sure where his destination is going to be. And I just put a piece out today kind of talking about that. Check that out on HockeyBuzz. And it's really tough because you could convince me that he deserves a spot on opening night for a 9-game trial. The AHL, he's played against men before. He knows what that's about. Or the WHL, where he can get his confidence back. So I really like the picks. And Elias Salomonsson in the second round, another great pick that I liked.
Okay. Sound good. Of course, you have a question here for Dan. Said, would you get rid of the Chevy? But I would say to you, what is your ranking from 1 to 10? What do you put him like? I don't know if he's a hot seat. It's really important season, I believe, for the Winnipeg Jets on many ways. With some move they did the last couple of weeks. What is the situation with Cheveldayoff, or what the people feel about him?
Well, you have to remember he's coming off of, I believe it was a 3-year extension with the team. So I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. Do I think he should go anywhere anytime soon? I don't think so. You have to think about the fact that it's really hard to bring in people to Winnipeg. Winnipeg's like at the bottom of the list of where people want to go just because of the temperature and just stuff like that. And so you got to give him some credit and leniency just because it is Winnipeg. But there are a lot of things to improve on. I would say you asked for a ranking 1 out of 10. I would give him like a 6.5. There's definitely some things he can work on, but he's better than people give him credit for.
Yeah, he's been there for many years, by the way, so that's, another way. Some of your questions, guys, if I don't ask right away, it's because I know we have other subjects coming for about you, most similar to your question. If you have any question, please put the letter Q, and Fonda will give us a chance to follow up in the chat. That'd be great if you don't mind to do it. William McClary, welcome back in the house, by the way. And we're going to ask you this question. I think it's not, did not put anything about him. Jacob, if the Jets are not in the contention for the playoff in January, would the Jets consider moving Connor Hellebuyck or any other players?
So those are two different kind of questions now. Connor Hellebuck, I think no. I think they still have faith in him. They don't have anybody ready to take over yet, but it's tough because Mark Shifley, Pierre-Luc Dubois, they all have really high value, especially at that time of year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about this one for sure. It'll be a team to follow for the upcoming year because I think they could way to one direction to another direction. The Winnipeg Jets. We know the last couple of days, maybe weeks now, they was became the big story over there, and I'm talking about the situation with Blake Wheeler. The leadership change. We heard, you follow a couple of podcasts. You heard like the new coach Barnes talk about this. They have to make a press conference about this. Weller talk about this. Max Shifley talk about this. Remove the C on the jersey of Blake Weller. Give me a little bit more your impression about what happening with this and what you do see like positively or negatively. What do you feel about this?
I think it's a positive for the organization. Wheeler might not. Oh, excuse me.
No problem.
Wheeler might not take that positively because how could you when you get the C taken off? But I do think one thing that people have an issue with is that Bonus hasn't even really been in that room yet with the players. And so he's making that judgment call a little early, I think. But I do think it is the right call. I think that a leadership change needed to happen. And not necessarily anything against Wheeler, but it just had to happen. There was too much going on in that room, too many rumors. You just hear so many things. Name another NHL locker room that you hear so many ex-players talk about poorly. It just doesn't happen. There was obviously something that had to happen. And you can even tie in Paul Maurice leaving to that.
Yeah. Because I was listening to you and I was thinking about if this happening in Toronto, how big it would be compared to Winnipeg Jets. It would be like 5 times bigger. That situation it's about like remove the C on John Tavares. What this going to be like dramatic over there compared to what happening with the Winnipeg Jets. But I think this is coming for the last couple of years. And the fact they changed the new coach and I think right now they go to another direction. One thing is good is about Bowness is, he's a really great communicator. And what do you think about the impact of Barnes behind the bench for the Winnipeg Jets?
I think it's a huge, I guess you could say, bonus. I really like the hiring. Obviously, everybody was hoping for Barry Trotz, but he took the year off. But yeah, I really like Bonus. I like what he brings, and that it's a whole new idea, I guess, to the locker room. A lot of people were expecting kind of another internal hire. We saw that didn't work with Dave Lowry. And I don't know. It's just the fresh face is the most important part about it. And the fact that he's a great coach is just an extra cherry on top.
Yeah, exactly. I think Bonus did it in the past, right? He changed a bit the culture and the Dallas Star. It's an up and down. But I think if you talk about the best communicator in NHL, he's maybe the best behind the bench for sure. And he's really calm. I think he's the right man for that situation happening right now with the Winnipeg Jet. He will pick up a lot of pressure. He's been there. He played hockey at some point, and he coached for many, many years. I think like 1983 for what he said on the podcast a couple of days ago. So he know exactly what's going on. He know what the locker room. I think he's going to calm the temperature inside, outside of the Winnipeg Jet. And he talked like he still believes that team is a playoff contender. They believe they can make the playoff, everything like this. So it'll be interesting to see Bonus. But for me, he brings something what they maybe need at this moment, not a long term, but a short term. I think maybe he was the best coach to get for that situation happening about this. And a few people talk a little bit about Cheveldayoff. Let's see if he can come back a little bit. Do you think Shiva has 9 live? I was not sure he would make it out of the Blackhawks scandal in the real season they had.
Yeah, that's a really tough one. I don't want to get too deep into the scandal stuff, but Cheveldayoff was the assistant GM there. I'm not sure why he wasn't held as accountable as others were. I do think In terms of the organization, he has 9 lives. Mark Chipman loves Kevin Cheveldayoff. He's been there forever. And so it's really tough because they did have a poor season. How much did that leadership have to do with it? How much did all these other factors have to do with it? And it is his call to make those leadership changes. Obviously, Rick Bowness comes in and does it, but it all goes through him. All the on-ice stuff goes through Cheveldayoff. And it's just important to kind of know, again, like I said, not everybody wants to play in Winnipeg. He's kind of limited to how many players he can acquire. But yeah, so we're kind of seeing that with Pierre-Luc Dubois now too. So I think, yes, he has 9 lives. I do think that people over-exaggerate that a little bit as well, though. So it's kind of somewhere in the middle there.
Definitely. Marco, are you surprised they did not prioritize rebuilding their D and off-season? We know sounds like maybe Big B and F left, and then Tyler Myers, and then I think the Trouba left after that, and they never have a number one. I think for me, for what I know, they never have a quarterback number one. They really believe on Pionk, Morrissey, but I think they don't have that kind of Letang or Carlson or Ekblad, and I can go all the way like this. What do you feel about why, or maybe did not move anything about the D, like the question from Marco?
See, so the defense is a really interesting conversation because they have 6 NHL-capable defensemen in their lineup every night. And currently they have 5 defensemen not in the NHL that are NHL ready. They have just so many NHL defensemen in their organization. There's got to be some change at some point. Like we see Ville Heinola, Dylan Samberg, Declan Chisholm, all of them are waiting for their spot. And they're not getting it because the D market is so weird in the NHL today. So Brendan Dillon was acquired for 2 second-round picks, which was a good trade. It was, and he doesn't really fit in the lineup like they thought he would. They couldn't get anywhere near that, even though that is kind of what he's worth. Nobody's going to pay 2 second-round picks for him right now. Nate Schmidt, he has 3 years left at, I believe it's $5.8 million. And they're going to have to pay assets to move him. Josh Morrissey is their best defenseman. Dylan DeMello is the only player that can play with Josh Morrissey effectively from what we've seen. It's just, who are you going to move out? But you have to. So it's really tough. You're kind of going to have to take a loss no matter what you do, whoever you move on the back end. So
yeah, definitely, for sure. I have another question here, and I will maybe you can give us something. Any chance that all that everything will help the team get ever more, or us again, the world kind of thing?
Yeah, so it does bring the team together a little bit more. It does also push them away, which we've heard a lot of players talking about. But I do think that there can be benefits if you spin it the right way. And I think that's what Rick Bowness is going to be really good at doing in that locker room, is taking all that adversity that they've gone up against, whether it be in the locker room, on the ice, whatever it might be, and spinning it the right way. Like, he has the experience needed. I believe he's one of the older coaches in the NHL. Like, he knows so much about hockey, and he's been around for so long. That being said, does he know as much about today's hockey as he does the 80s hockey? And that's just a totally different conversation. I do think that he is more than capable of being an effective coach today. That's nothing against him. It might have sounded like it. But yeah, I do think that he has the capability to spin that the right way in that dressing room.
Do you, I always feel like I wish they could. I know they got Sam Gagner, but I don't know if he's a really veteran. Like, I think they would be better because the same leadership still the same, because they're almost the same returner. Does it make sense? Like, they're not going to become now an amazing, great leader inside the locker room because now the sea is moving now. Bonus. I wish they can get like a 2, 3, maybe 2 of them, like Corey Perry, that kind of the type of player, Eric Stahl, been the big veteran, 34, 35, 36 years old, with a lot of leadership, explain how this works, and maybe give them a little bit more. I understand Blake Wheeler is that age, but I think a new voice with some kind of Corey Perry or Patrice Bergeron, and I know Bergeron will not be there, but that's just compare that kind of leader. I think that will help the inside the locker room to Winnipeg Jets, in my eyes.
Oh, absolutely. And I do think like Kyle Connor, he can absolutely be that leader. And so like if you kind of re-look at the leadership core, obviously the same players are still in the room. But let's say, for example, Kyle Connor gets the C and Ehlers and Morrissey keep the A's. That's like a totally different look. And I think Wheeler is going to be gone. He has 2 years left on his contract. If he's not gone before then, I don't think he's going to be re-signed. And so you're kind of phasing out that older era. And Mark Shifley also has 2 years left. I don't know what's going to happen there. He at the end of last year, he sounded like he was kind of requesting a trade. But then he's cleared things up, and he just said all those things out of frustration. He's happy to be a Jet. But depending on the direction things go this year, who would say no to a number one center at $6 million, 6.125, I think his contract is?
Yeah.
Who's going to say no to that, especially if you retain salary? So he's going to have a ton of value over the next 2 years. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the next 24 months. It's just a matter of what the Jets do with those changes.
Awesome. Great answer. Mr. N. Rabinab, welcome aboard. I know you have a question. We're going to talk about him the next couple of minutes. So stay, don't go nowhere. We're going to answer your question for sure. Let's talk about a bit the prospect. I know you talked a little bit from the NHL draft they did a couple of weeks ago, but I want you to talk a little bit more about what they have already and their, with the Manitoba over there, and what you expect. Maybe one or two can make the team. I know a lot of people talk about Cole, but any other players you expect or what they look like, their prospect?
Well, the obvious ones start with Cole Propheti. He dealt with an injury last year, so he didn't get a full year of NHL time like he should have. And I think people are kind of forgetting about him just because, he was a 10th overall pick. I would say right now he's a top 10 prospect outside the NHL. And then you have David Gustafson, who's going to come in this year and probably be the third line center, hopefully bumping Adam Lowry down to the fourth line. And then you have like Daniel Torgerson, who had a pretty good showing at the World Juniors, not necessarily on the score sheet, but he looked pretty good. You got Chaz Lucius. We've already talked about the 2 first-round picks from this year. Danny Zilkin, he's another pick. Dmitry Kuzmin, he's a very small defenseman, but he has so much skill. He's super exciting to watch. And then we've already talked about the defensemen. They have 3 or 4 goalies who I wouldn't be surprised are at least an NHL backup someday. And I think the Jets have so many prospects that are so close to breaking the NHL lineup that it's almost a perfect time for a rebuild, just based on what they have internally. But it would be really tough because you want to keep guys like Ehlers and Connor happy. Obviously, you want to keep Dubois happy as well, but he's kind of on the fence about what he wants right now, at least from what we know in the media. But yeah, their prospect pool is super underrated, I think. Cole Propheti can absolutely be a high-end top 6 player in the NHL. And then one kind of thing that people don't focus a lot on is those drafting for the bottom 6 guys. And the Jets have a ton of them in their prospect pool. They're super ready to go to fill in those bottom 6 roles. And yeah, I love the prospect pool they have.
Awesome. Welcome back, Mr. RJ Calabo. Thanks for being part of the show. We have a question about Anartap. Ask you, do you think the Alibak will be stronger if his load was reduced? Too much reliance on him.
I definitely think so. He's a goalie that's used to playing 60 plus games a year. That's too much now. We're seeing an NHL that starting goalies play 50, 55 games at the tops. And that 5-game difference doesn't sound like much, but it is. And you can see the numbers drop in seasons where they play 62 versus 54. There is correlation there. I do think Dave Riddick can have a good bounce back year. And they do have a couple guys that are ready to come back in. So I do think he can have a bounce back season.
Yeah. Will be really interesting what you're going to do. Welcome back, Miss Kelly is in the house tonight. Thanks to be a part of the show. It's another hot subject. Another one in Winnipeg. Look like they have not only 2 or 3, but maybe a bit more. It's of course during the off season. He was straight already in Montreal. P.L. Dubois, we know is a lot of. I don't know if it's true or not. And honestly, I don't want to talk. Go deep. But what do you expect for him for upcoming year? What will be his role? What do you think he will do under Bowness? We know Bowness did very well with Jimmy Benn and Dallas again and everybody else over there. Do you expect a better season? We know you have about 80 points, I can recall it last season, 27 goals, something like that. But what do you think about PL?
Yeah, so up until now, he's been kind of like a 65-point guy. But I do think this year he can take a big step. He's trying to earn what he wants. He still has 1 year left as an RFA. And then after next summer, he's a UFA, however long he signs his contract for. But so he's going to come in. He has a lot to prove. He wants to earn a contract, and he wants to earn the right to kind of choose his destiny. He's going to be on that second line still with Kyle Connor and either Cole Propheti or Blake Wheeler, I would guess. So he's in a position to succeed, and I think he's going to take it and run with it.
Yeah. He was flipping first line, second line, winger, center. We know Paul Saché is gone now. What do you think he's going to do? Are they going to bring back as a center number 2, or he will play a possible for left winger? What do you expect for him?
I think he plays the full season at center. He's really good on center, and he has the potential to be one of the best power forwards in the league, up there with like Brady Tkachuk and Chris Kreider, who are both wingers, but he plays that center position really well. And it's just, I don't know, it's really tough because he's shown that he can do all the things that we want him to do. He's also shown that he doesn't want to do those things. So it's just kind of a night-on-night basis, and you'll have to kind of see where it goes from there. So he's a really hard player to judge just because of those things, but I'm looking forward to seeing how he bounces back. Obviously, he bounced back from his year in Columbus. Let's see if he can take another step.
I see. Yeah, we'll be very interesting to follow him. Question for Marco, and it was something I was going to ask you. Propheti crack top 6 this season as a winger or center?
I definitely think Propheti is going to be a winger on the Jets, at least for now. I would like to see him transition to center, but especially if he wants in that top 6. He's not going to beat out Shifley or Dubois for one of those positions. Last year, he was on Ehlers and Shifley's line for quite a bit, and it worked fantastic. I do love Propheti, and he's kind of versatile, and he can fit in anywhere. So I do definitely think he's a top 6 winger, though, with the center depth that they have.
Did he improve his skating?
Yeah, his skating definitely looks a lot better. It's been tough because it's been 7 months since we've seen him play hockey. He was injured for most of last year. I think he only played, I can't remember. I think it was close to 20, even less. But yeah, I do think that he has taken a lot of steps that he needed to.
Yeah, he have a good start with the American Hockey League, and then after that did very well. Then, but fortunately, the injury stopped him. They play a top 9 for the Winnipeg Jet now. Depend with Bowness where he going to put him about in this upcoming year. Kelly did ask you this: did Paul Maurice resign to the disaster of the front office? We know sometimes when you reevaluate everything, not the day after, but a little bit longer, after a couple of months. What do you think about this situation with Paul Maurice when he decided to resign, when he was always said they need a new voice, everything on this. But do you know said this he was right? We see something what nobody saw during that time.
I really wish I had an answer for this, but he kind of left and didn't say anything.
Yeah. Luciano asked this question. I think you've been there anyway, but you can reply. Can you see this possible Cheval Day off last season as a GM? Like you said, he signed a new contract, 3-year extension. It was like, is it this year his first year or is it year number 2?
I can't remember. He did sign it this summer. I don't remember if it was because it was coming up or if it was starting next year. But regardless, I don't see this being his last year. He's been here since the beginning of Jets 2.0. Mark Chipman loves him. He hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't made any terrible moves. He hasn't done anything that, like, I don't know. It's really tough because he hasn't done anything excellent. His drafting has been good. But yeah, it's tough. I would like to see him do a little bit better. Make some bigger splashes, but again, we're restricting him to your team is in Winnipeg, so it's really tough.
Do you believe there's right to the Jet to retire Jose Avcelani, other player from Jet 1.0 team, even though they did not technically play for this franchise?
That's another really tough question, because they played for the Winnipeg Jets. It should be retired in the Winnipeg Jets jersey in the Winnipeg Jets arena. But I do understand the argument from both sides. It's tough because no, he didn't play for this organization. If Kovalchuk's jersey was retired, it would be in the Winnipeg Jets stadium. It wouldn't be in a new Atlanta stadium if they ever got another team again. But they give credit to them, I guess. I don't think that they should retire the number, but I do think that they should have like the Ring of Honor stuff that a lot of teams do. So maybe not a full-on retirement of the jersey, hang it in the rafters, but definitely like a Ring of Honor ceremony for them.
Awesome. We welcome Alan Vaillancourt and, of course, Strasik. Thanks to be a part of the show tonight. We know we're flipping on the prediction now because we are at the end before we talk about the hurricane. The NCA asks you this question. Will Winnipeg finally allow the top prospect to get constant ice time in the lineup instead of burying them and the minor?
I sure hope so. It's time for some Jets prospects to get some real time. We did see it with Propheti, which was great. We very well could see it with Chaz Lucius if some injuries come up. He's probably going to be one of the first players to get a call up for that top 6 spot. We could see some younger guys like Morgan Barron, who was just got acquired in the Andrew Kopp trade with the Rangers. He could earn some time in the top 6 with injuries. But yeah, it's tough because they have all of the pieces to fill out their top 6. Like they don't need they don't have the room to put a prospect up there. They should have the room because they need to make the room because they do have the prospects ready for that. But like you have Mark Shifley, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Nikolai Ehlers, Kyle Connor, and Mark Shifley. That's 5 of your top 6. And Blake Wheeler is slowing down. He's getting older. He's still almost a point per game over the past 3 seasons. So
that's awesome.
He deserves a spot in the top 6.
Jacob, do you believe Bonus is a placeholder for the organization until they get the man they want at Trust? We know a lot of rumors during summer. Barry Trotz was supposed to be there, did not turn around that way and everything. So what do you think about this? Is it true or not? Or what do you feel about this?
I think if Barry Trotz comes in next summer and says, hey, I would like to coach your team, they're going to do that. It's just a matter, I think it's kind of up to Barry Trotz. And they could have hired Bonus as a 1-year thing and then an agreement to demote him to an assistant coach if Trotz wants to come in. We're not going to know this unless it happens. This is all just complete hypotheticals. But if Trotz says he wants to come coach the Jets, I am sure that the Jets will make that happen.
Awesome. First of all, you've been really helpful to understand all the highlights about the Winnipeg Jet. Many of us, we follow overall, but when you go deeper, you really understand more about that team. And time now to you give us your prediction about the Winnipeg Jet playoff and overall for the upcoming season. What are your expectation for the Winnipeg Jets?
The first step to that would be predicting the Central Division. But even then, I don't see a world where the Jets make the playoffs. I think it's either going to be they're really, really close or they're really, really far. So either like down to the last 3 games or they're out in February, early March. So my official prediction, I would say 89 points-ish, which is just probably going to be about 4 or 5 points out of the playoffs.
So the pool said 90 points, so you said no. You did not know that, but at the beginning of the show, I did the prediction how many points the Winnipeg Jets going to make. Did you believe you would make 90 points? You said 89, so that's pretty cool. That's a funny one.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I apologize, but
no, it's great. It's a good stuff about this. I love it. Honestly, we have a lot of questions about guys about the Winnipeg Jet, but because he covered 2 teams and we want to split a little bit both tonight, and I don't want to keep us for all night. Honestly, he's already late in Nova Scotia, and let's move on for the Carolina Hurricane. We apologize, by the way, for the people in the chat. Expect a question for him. If we have time, a little bit maybe later, but we want to move on to the Carolina Hurricane. Really, a team was with high expectation last season. For me, was one of my top best 3 teams, make maybe possible to make the final, maybe win the Stanley Cup. But it's really interesting what happening during the off season. They lost a couple of key players. We talk about Trocheck. We talk about Tony D'Angelo. They got hurt on the goalies last season, everything. But what do you think about the Hurricane off-season overall by the general manager? But before you talked about this, I want to mention to you, and not many people talk about this, is another way where the cabinet already quiet some stuff like this. The general manager, Wendell, got a contract extension. It was not publicized nowhere. I found it, or one of my person I know over there told me about this for him. So he got an extension. But overall, what do you think about this movement, what he did during the offseason and his NHL draft 2022?
Yeah, so obviously you talk about some big losses. D'Angelo was a big piece of that blue line. Excuse me.
Not a problem.
D'Angelo was a big piece of that blue line. They got Brent Burns for pennies on the dollar to replace him there. And they played the same kind of role, an offense-first guy to play with Slavin. And then you got Dylan Coughlin as well. He was part of a bigger trade I'll mention in a second. But Dylan Coughlin as a right-handed defenseman adds some pretty good depth to your already super deep defensive core. And he came along with Max Pacioretty for free, future considerations. Max Pacioretty, of course, is going to be out until early February with the torn ACL, but he's going to be like a free deadline acquisition as long as they have the $7 million clear. And so that's going to be huge. Max Pacioretty is still one of the league's best goal scorers. And yeah, like he's going to add so much winger depth on that team. It's going to be scary.
Yeah. Honestly, I was expect a couple of things, but they just, I think the Burns show up from the San Jose was a little bit a gift. Then they got another gift for the gift with Pacioretty. I know he got hurt, but I think overall they did pretty cool. The piece of the puzzle they're really looking for KK. Maybe took the spot of Trocheck, and then possible with the signature Paul Stachny will be interesting to follow. We're going to talk about a little bit more about that situation for them. I just tried to get a couple of questions for the Carolina Hurricane. I did the ceiling for Zed Jarvis. How high of the ceiling of Zed Jarvis you believe?
I think Seth Jarvis, the sky's the limit for him. I had a tweet out the other day, and I did a redraft of the top 10 for the 2020 draft, and I went Stützle, Raymond, Jarvis. I think as of right now, that's how I would go. Obviously, Jamie Drysdale, Jake Sanderson, all these guys are going to challenge him for that. Even Anton Lundell, a lot of people sleep on. But Seth Jarvis just has so much skill, and a lot of people talk about how he might be carried on that first line with Aho and Svechnikov, but he earned that position, and the chemistry there is so good, and I expect him to be up on that line for a very long time. I think he's probably a 70, 75 point guy, but it wouldn't surprise me if he jumps up past the point per game mark and even hits 90 points someday. But I do think for the most part, he's going to be about a 70 point guy, which is still excellent.
Yeah. Still in the off season, Stratic asked you about this. Do you believe Carolina is better or worse than last season?
I think they have the potential to be much better. I like Burns better than D'Angelo. Trocheck is going to be missed, and Niederreiter is going to be missed as well, which a lot of people forget about Nino going to Nashville.
24 goal, solid third line winger.
Yeah, but they do have some younger guys coming in. Jack Drury is likely going to be the fourth line center, and he's at a goal per game in his 2 games in the NHL so far. So that's got to be saying something for him coming into his rookie season. We do see a lot of potential there, but we kind of have to see it happen first. That is, Jake Gardner is out, so we're still waiting on who's going to earn that bottom pairing role. We'll see if Jake Gardner makes a return. See if he's out for the full year again. Maybe his career's over. We don't know.
Yeah,
but he's been battling a lot of injury. So
it's under injury and another hip injury. Stashny, is it like a like a urgency center they need it, or what is the purpose to get Paul Stashny? Is it because in case Kotkaniemi can then not do it, or what do you feel about this with Paul with the Carolina?
I think he just brings in a lot of depth, and I don't think it's in case Kotkaniemi can't do it. I think it's maybe in case Kotkaniemi isn't the perfect fit on that line. Paul Stastny can move to the wing. He can fill in for anybody on that forward group. He, like last year in Winnipeg, he did great as the first line winger when players were out. He did great as the fourth line center when players were out. He's just incredibly versatile, and he can be used anywhere. So I don't think signing him is kind of a slap in the face to anybody. I think it's just proving a point that here we can add him for very cheap, and he can do anything we need to, and he's good at it too. He has a lot of experience.
Yep, you're absolutely about this. Adam asked you about what do you know this? Honestly, what happening with Pachori? Is ACL? Or I know we know he was skating at the facility of the Carolina, and what do you know, or maybe you don't know so about this injury?
So all I know is that it did happen after the trade. So he was healthy, and it was something that happened while he was training. I don't know if it was on the ice or off the ice, but it did happen after he was traded. So it wasn't kind of under the table kind of thing before he got traded to make the deal go through, because if he had gotten injured, then they wouldn't have been able to trade him until they could officially place him on LTIR, which would be a big mess. So a lot of people were kind of questioning that. But looking at the injury itself, I don't think anybody really knows what happened outside of the organization. So, yeah.
All right. We're going to talk about the extra defenseman, talk about the situation with the defenseman. We have 2 questions back to back, so that we give them an answer about this. The situation with Jake Gardner, play the start of the season or not. And then we have our friend NCA now, first time in the house. Welcome aboard, my friend. The situation with Ed and Bear to the Ottawa or Vancouver this season. Both need RD. Montreal need one, by the way. But that's a subject another time. What you expect about the possible waiver or trade, or because we know they have a lot of defensemen over there. So give us a little bit with the extra defensemen with the Carolina.
Yeah, so Jake Gardner will not be playing at the beginning of the year. It's nobody really knows when he's going to play or if he's going to play. We already kind of talked about that. As for Ethan Bear, nobody in Carolina has expressed interest in trading him, at least publicly, but there has been a lot of interest in people trading for him. The tough thing is he's a right D, and down the right side, Carolina has Brent Burns, Brett Pesce, Calvin DeHaan, and just like there's so much depth there, the Bears going to have a hard time getting in. So Carolina might look at that and say, why not get an asset for him if we're just going to sit him? They sat him during the playoffs, which in his defense, he had a really tough time coming back from COVID. It impacted his game heavily, but he is said to be 100% healthy now. He said he's feeling the best he ever has. So really looking forward to seeing how he does in camp this week. But in terms of trading for or to Ottawa or Vancouver, I also heard Edmonton is interested as well. They're all kind of looking for that bottom pair, maybe second pair right D. And I don't know what it would cost. I definitely could see it happening. I did see one trade proposal from Vancouver. I think it was Tanner Pearson and 2/4, which I think would be a pretty fair trade. Both teams kind of get it, kind of benefit from it. Carolina gets more forward depth. Vancouver gets more defensive depth. It's kind of a win-win. But yeah, I could definitely see him being traded. Could also see him making the team and being great.
We know during summer they get a maybe someone who I think he's not underrated, but I think he's at 30, he's 37, 30 years old now. Maybe the most in shape like anybody else in defense as a defenseman, but as a hockey player, he's really take care about his health, his burns. I know they lost Tony D'Angelo. I feel the one of the best defensemen in NHL is from the Carolina Hurricane is Jacob Slavin. I think he's underrated. The people do not recognize because he's not a type of player like Adam Fox or Cal McCarr, but maybe the best defenseman at 1v1 at any level in NHL for me is maybe on the defensive zone, the best defenseman anyway. That's another subject. But what do you think about the impact of Burns for the team for upcoming season?
Yeah, I think Burns is huge, and he's going to work with Slavin either really well or not very well at all. Kind of have to wait and see how that's going to work, but it's going to be really interesting to see how they work together because, again, Burns plays a lot like D'Angelo did, and D'Angelo and Slavin worked really well together. And Burns has a lot more experience. He's never won a cup. He is more determined than ever. Coming into Carolina, he has probably the best opportunity he's had outside of 2016. So yeah, I'm really excited to see Burns and his motivation. Sure, he is getting older. He doesn't seem to have slowed down a bunch. He's still
25 minutes before he got hurt last season. He performed at the top best defenseman in NHL.
Yeah, like he's not slowing down much. His defensive game is wearing a little bit. He was never the best defensive defenseman.
No.
But it is wearing off a little bit. But then you have Slavin there to make up for it, like you said. So
I think for me, for the power play that we're helping them as a quarterback, as a slap shot and the point. I think D'Angelo have a good shot, but not like Burns. D'Angelo was more a distributor of the puck on the power play for them. So it will be interesting to see overall Burns is going to do. We welcome back Mr. Rand Sexton and Mr. Roger Delaney back in the house. Welcome to the show tonight. Let's see what we have. A couple of questions. Do you believe now? First of all, I have two questions. She asked you, do you believe? And I apologize, I didn't put this there. Do you believe Freddie Anderson could lead the team depth in the playoff? And what is the situation about his injury? Is it full recovery, or tell us a bit news about Freddie?
Yeah, I definitely think, assuming he stays healthy, he can absolutely take this team to the Cup Finals. And if not, I believe Ranta can as well. In terms of his health, as far as I know, he's 100% healthy. I haven't heard anything otherwise. He bounced back really well in the summer. There were a few quotes out there about that, saying he was feeling really good. Whether that's still the case now that he's back on the ice and really working hard, who knows? But as of right now, I'm very confident he's 100% healthy.
I see. Same situation with Ranta?
Yeah, same situation with Ranta. They had their lingering injuries after the playoffs, and both got healthy during the season. And obviously, they still have that rookie goalie who's fantastic if they need to jump in. So
Awesome. We know Carolina Hurricane, if you follow hockey really more deeper, you know Carolina Hurricane are maybe the top best 5 team in NHL with NHL prospect for the last couple of years. That they draft year after year, what their ranking or their pick are, they always get right players, everything. We're going to talk about a little bit after that, the Jarvis and Nikash, everything. But tell us a bit more the prospect, Drury, Suzuki, and so many others overall for what could maybe one or two possible not will maybe make the team or not, you believe, for the upcoming season.
Well, like I said, I think Jack Drury makes the 4th line center right out of camp. I think he's projected there, and a lot of people are expecting that. So I'm going to put him on that list as well. And then for the other one, you could probably point a few directions. Ryan Suzuki will probably have a good chance to play in the lineup. Jamison Reese, maybe. He's looked really good in the rookie tournament and coming into training camp. I'm really looking at him. But another really underrated name could be Vasily Potomerev. He was drafted last year, I believe. I don't know. COVID got me all messed up with my years. But he looked really, really good in the AHL. And I think his game can transition to the NHL really well. He's a good two-way player. He's not very big, but his presence is known in the corners, which is amazing. And then after the NCAA year is over, Morrow can come up and replace any defenseman on the lineup. He's that good. So
Sweet. It would be interesting watching. I really believe on Drury for sure for me and my book, everything like that. Funny question I think is great to ask you. Are you a fan of the storm surge that can do at the end of the game?
I am. I love it. And even as somebody who was never a Canes fan before, I never paid too much attention to the team. I've always liked them, but they were never top 3 or anything. I loved it as a hockey fan because that's to me, I'm a hockey fan before anything else. Like I said in the show, I grew up an Ottawa fan. It'll always be number 1 deep down in my heart. But I'm really good at keeping the bias out of things and whatnot. But I've always been an Ottawa fan. But now I'm a hockey fan, and I loved it. It's a huge step for the game, and this might be a really controversial take from me. But I loved it. I don't want to see every team do it, but to have one team do it and have fun with it and really just do something completely different. I loved it.
I'm the old school hockey. I'm 85 years old, just kidding. But you know what? Me, I love it. Whatever it is, I always love a team make their own culture. That's who they are. That's what they are. It would not be fun if the national player does the same thing. After that, it's that they are unique, and that's how they are. For me, no problem. And this is the culture of who the people in Raleigh are. If you look about the football team and the Duke over there, the Carolina Mudcats, and the baseball AAA, one of the oldest team in the baseball minor league, and that's what the people are over there. So for me, this is it is great. I love it, and that's a part of they do this all the time. So I agree with you. Great comment about this. And at the end of the day, Jacob, it's an entertaining business at the end. So if you don't entertaining your people, your fans, then we're going to come back. They want to be sure that the kid love it, have a great time, and the parents have a good time at the same time. So for me, I think that's a great one over there. Now, Eden Bear was straight from the Edmonton Oilers to the warrant for jail a couple of years ago. Now, where Andy asked you this one over there, I feel like it's funny, but it's a good one. Bear returned to Edmonton for Jesse Buljujavi. So, your question, my question, or his question, do you think the Carolina would love to do that kind of the transaction, or do you think it would be good enough if you are the GM for them?
If I'm Don Waddell, I say absolutely, and then hang up the phone before they change their mind. That's a really easy trade to say yes to, in my opinion. I do think that Puljujarvi, I don't know why Edmonton wants to trade him so bad. He's an excellent player, fits really well on that third and second line. But yeah, like I can't see a world that Don Waddell says no to that.
Yeah. We talk about the fun, entertaining, return that. I think this question, just read the question, but I think it would be great. I did not think about this, but he said, did Jacob grow out the beer on the homage of Brad Burns? Brad Burns. So, very good one.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's just over the past month or so. I agree with that out. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
A good one. That's good, Jacob, about this one. I tried to get you have other question about before I move on to the next one. Jacob Savin is a fantastic coach. Is a big fan. Yep, I agree with you about this one there. And try to get another. Mr. KLS is in the house. Mr. Jacob KLS is a big fans of the Carolina Hurricanes. He, by the way, is live over there, so he followed the Detroit Red Wings, but this is the one he likes the most about this. William said that, what do you think about the Burns have been out of the position, everything? So do you think is, like you said earlier, sometimes he's not always the best defenseman on, but usually those kind of offensive players, that's what they are on the defensive side.
Yeah, like he's an offensive defenseman, always has been. No, not always has been. He used to be a forward, which some of you might not know. And so, yeah, like playing with Slavin is fantastic. He played with Vlasic over in San Jose when he was at the top of his game, and that worked really well. Vlasic was a fantastic defensive defenseman. Burns was fantastic offensively. You kind of have to balance it out. We look at other teams around the league. You have Makar and Devon Toews playing together. You have the offensive and the defensive. Obviously, Makar is fantastic at both ends, but like you always have to have that balance for a pairing to work out fantastic. We see, I'll use an example for Thomas Chabot. He hasn't had a consistent defensive partner in 3-4 years since Dylan DeMello was traded to the Winnipeg Jets. And he has struggled a bit, and he's been carrying Nikita Zaitsev for a long time, and he's been playing with rookies, and like you just have to have that consistency, and you have to have that balance.
Yep, absolutely about this one there. I want to talk about Jarvis, Kotkaniemi, and Necas, but we have a question before that, so we'll maybe go that way after that. Will the Revenant be a factor in making the playoff for upcoming for the Hurricane?
Absolutely. He's going to be, I think we're looking at this line here. I think Jarvis is going to be on the first line, and Teravainen takes that spot on that second line. And that's going to be a really good second line. Obviously, Teravainen is going to be the veteran on that line. And I think that works really well. You don't have anybody super, kind of getting older, in their 30s and whatnot. And they're working together to just create what they can. That line wouldn't really have an identity. You have three very different players. And if they can come together and create an identity, that'll be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. We want to welcome John Diller too. The heart or the core is really young in Carolina. Whatsoever you have Stahl, the Burns, and of course Paul Stastny. But Zach Jarvis, I think it was really impressive last year. For them, Kotkaniemi came for the of the offer sheet, and then Martin Necas dropped last season. So a little bit more focusing on Necas, like what you expect for him to upcoming season. We knew some kind of what the rumor was, some kind of controversy between Brind'Amour with Bear first of all, and then after with Necas realized after that maybe the coach was right. So what do you think about what is coming for the upcoming season for three of them?
Yeah, I don't really know what the behind the scenes stuff was with that. I did hear those rumors as well. I do think that Nikish has a big bounce back year. I'm a huge fan of him, and I think he can easily play himself into a $6 or $7 million contract in the next year or two. Um, he's such like he has so much skill and he's just struggling to put it all together. And it's kind of the same situation as Ethan Bear. Like you can see it's all there. Nikish is doing a much better job of showing it and being more consistent, but he did take a step back last year. But I expect a huge step forward this year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about this. Three, they have their own role right now. Jarvis top six. Kokanemi can become the center number two. And Nikesh Ronald played a lot of time on the four line last year. So hopefully he can come back because 2 years ago, Jacob, I really liked Martin Nikesh for them. I think he was really special, his speed, and obviously did not do it last season, but it will be interesting what's going to happen about this. We're almost at the end, honestly, for you. And, like we do all the time, I like to make that kind of prediction about that team. So I'm going to change a little bit. Three questions. First of all, top five team in NHL for upcoming season or not?
Yeah.
103 point and more. More. All right. They finished first in the Metropolitan Division.
Yes, and I'm going to say yes because I don't think Igor Shesterkin has as good of a season, and it's going to come down to Carolina and the Rangers, and I do think Carolina takes that bigger step.
All right. Now, playoff-wise, do you believe they win the Stanley Cup? If not, what do you see them? We know last season they lost against the Rangers in game number 7 after they beat the Boston Bruins game number 7-2. So do you believe they will go through more round or not? And give us your last prediction about the Hurricane.
I think if they get eliminated in round 1 or 2, it's a disappointment. So third rounder on is a success. I do think, just trying to picture a little bracket in my head real quick. I think they got the Stanley Cup Finals, and I'll go one further. They're going to lose in the finals to the Avalanche, and the Avalanche go back to back.
Some people talk about this. John is another one. We welcome Pierre Martin, by the way. Rematch Stanley Cup 2023 would be interesting to see that for that. Try to get if we have other things for you. If we don't, we'll see. The Kane, Renault, welcome back in the house, by the way. The Kane tried to trade KK, sent he did not meet expectation. We know he just signed a new contract with us, so I don't maybe not. But what do you think about this turnaround so far for Kokanemi?
I don't think there's any chance they're trying to trade him right now. He just come off a huge contract, and he didn't have a disappointing year last year. He was just, they used him in the fourth line center position, which doesn't mean that he's a fourth line center in the NHL. He was just, that's where he fit the best last year. It's going to be totally different next year. This year, I guess. I can't believe it's already hockey season. But yeah, he's going to fit so much better higher up in the lineup. He had a disappointing year because he was on the fourth line. He wasn't on the fourth line because he had a disappointing year.
Would be very interesting to follow him for sure. Have you seen the best of Shevnikov? Feel like he maybe have another level?
I don't think we've seen the best of Svechnikov. I would be really surprised if we have because he's kind of plateaued a little bit now. And I do expect him to take another big step. And maybe Jarvis in his second year will help him out. People are underrating Jarvis. He had 40 points in 60 games this year, and that was as a rookie. He's going to get better. He's going to do better. Aho is still young. He's going to get better. That line is all going to get better, and they're going to help each other get better. So Svechnikov definitely has another step.
Yeah, absolutely right about this one. A lot of people like the Renevan, by the way, in the chat. They talk about the team did not pick him, so it was it was funny about their comments about this. What kind of team to win on the road?
See, that's really tough because they couldn't do it last year. They couldn't do it the year before. but I don't really believe that they can't do it. I don't like that narrative that a team can't win on the road, or in some cases can't win at home. But I do think that they need to kind of get over that. And I look at it as the same situation as the Maple Leafs in their first round. It's just a mental thing. They got to get that out of their head. They can't think about that when they're going into an away game. And it's, yeah, so that's all I can really say on that, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely right about this. And I know you did answer about this, but you request Renault. So sometimes people show up later and we on that about Jake Gardner going to play again. I don't think so. I think he's going to be out, possible, maybe never play again in hockey. And we know he signed a big contract with them for $4 million, came from the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I think that would be really interesting about that situation. Anyway, if you think about this, they don't really need him when you have so many defensemen in their team right now. I don't think so. They really need him part of the team. I think that's my opinion. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, the same kind of thing. If even if he was perfectly healthy, there's no way he's any more than the third line left defense, which is fairly replaceable. Obviously, you need somebody reliable there, but I don't even know if he's the best option there anymore. There's just so many people coming in. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he ever plays again. I don't think it's this year. We could definitely see him back next year. He is still pretty young and can bounce back. So I don't think his career is quite over yet, but it's trending in that direction.
If you add, we don't know, we cannot predict what's going to happen today until the trade deadline in March. But what do you believe they are maybe missing for them become maybe the best team in NHL for the upcoming season? Like, what you would like to see the Kane make some kind of transaction or maybe other players? What position or what do you think they're missing right now?
The only hole I really see in their lineup would be that second line center spot if Kotkaniemi can't fill that right. And then you have Stahl or Stastny trying to fill that slot. I could definitely see Jack Drury jumping up there and having a good year, but then you don't want a rookie as your second line center headed into the playoffs where you're expecting to win the Stanley Cup. Um, so I do think like we talked about earlier, Mark Shifley, if the Jets decide to trade him, he could be the perfect candidate for the Carolina Hurricanes.
I see. Mr. Basic Ab fan, welcome back in the house. Ask you, what do you believe Nick's fit in this lineup? Now we know that Niederreiter left now, and they have some kind of spot open up on the winger. Do you think Nikish can jump in from 4 to 3 or maybe higher?
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to start the year on the second line right wing spot, and see where he goes from there. Just kind of check out the chemistry, check out the just see how everything works. Give him a good shot to open up, and it all depends on how he does in training camp. So
They talk about the playoff, some kind of, lack opportunities on the productivity on offensive. Is it just like that's happened at that bad moment, everything? But overall, they still have a good, with Ao and Terevinen, and now they have Pacioretty. We know you can start, but Zed Jarvis, everything else. Do you think they still have kind of productivity you expect from them and an offensive side? Sorry.
yeah, I don't think there's any offensive incapabilities there for the Canes. They're like they have so many elite pieces that can score goals, and well, maybe the score goals part they might struggle on, but like so many other players can make like they're all playmakers. So they're bound to set up those goals for somebody. Doesn't really matter if you have an Ovechkin or a Matthews on your team. Somebody's going to score the goals when you have that much skill. And then when Pacioretty comes in, he takes over one of those left wing spots. It's just going to be lights out.
Awesome. Two more questions before we go for you. What are the candidates say? Tough, fast, hard, play again, great offensive, great defensive. Play, what are they?
Yes. They're kind of a little bit of all of that. They're a bunch of jerks. They have a ton of offensive skills. Their defense is probably the deepest in the NHL. Maybe McCarr and Taves bump Colorado ahead, and their goaltending is great. They're they have some gritty players like Jesper Fast and a couple other players in the lineup, and they're a little bit of everything. They don't have a true identity other than a bunch of jerks, but they're good enough at everything that they don't need that kind of identity, if that makes sense.
And last question, I know already, but you can answer this one. Anderson Retta have history injury on the goalie on a particular day. Who would be the third string goalie, and would the Kane consider trading for another goalie?
Unless there's like a long-term injury, I don't think that they trade for another goalie. We saw the rookie come in last year in the playoffs, and he was fantastic. I think he can absolutely come in this year and even be the starter if he has to be, and can definitely win some games for the Hurricanes. I'm blanking on his name right now, and I apologize. But yeah, like he can definitely be a very good goaltender. He's really, really close to breaking that threshold going into the NHL. So, and he showed that in the playoffs. They didn't lose the series because of him. That's for sure.
Awesome. The final percentage, do you think the Jets have 90 points this season? 42 people participate. 78% said no, and 21% said yes, Jacob. So I give you an idea. You are the part of the 71% for them. After that, on this, my friend, this is going to complete your time with us. I know we go a little bit over. We apologize. It's never finished at the right time. I apologize for that one. But, it's not Jason, but it's Jacob. You can reach Jacob at Twitter. Do you have other places you can reach you, or you really like anybody else like hockey, or only on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm mostly just on Twitter. I'm always in the comment sections on HOCKEYBUZZ for the Jets and on the hockey writers with the Hurricanes as well. But yeah, I'm mostly just on Twitter. But yeah, I apologize for. I'm just getting over my cold, so had to cough.
No. We I should said this at the beginning. I know you told me earlier, and I didn't mention, but I know you don't feel that 100%. So, but you give us your 150%. That's the most important thing. So, hopefully, you're going to speed recovery for your health. That's really important. And he's in the house right now. He's typing Kevin Francis, but I would not tell him you are better to him yesterday. So, just want to let you know that one over there. But no, we love Kevin. Kevin is the one reason you come for the HOCKEYBUZZ with us. Karen, she's with us every Sunday. But we really, really, really appreciate, Jacob, your participation tonight, and you take a time to talk to us. Hopefully, you will be welcome back. If you want to come, just let us know. During the season, we'd love to hear more about the Winnipeg Jet or the Carolina. We have something going on. And don't forget, guys, everybody in the chat to follow him on the HOCKEYBUZZ.com under the Jet and the Carolina Hurricane. All the link are on the side of the description below on this YouTube channel of the show. So you're going to find everything about him. And of course, if you're on Twitter, follow him. Click on follow. It costs nothing to click on it, and that will add more on his followers. So, Jacob, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. I know he's 10:22 over there, and we wish the best for you. And we're really grateful and thankful for your time you gave to us at the HNLTONIGH show, and all the fans right now in the chat. All thanks you to be with us tonight. So, thank you again, Jacob.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I'll be happy to come on again.
That'd be awesome. Have an amazing, great night, Jacob. Good luck for your team. And I think you said you like the Jet, but you prefer more the Canes, right?
I don't really have a preference between the teams I cover. But like I said, I grew up a Senators fan, so they're always kind of going to be number one deep down.
Do you expect to maybe write for the Saints for the Senator one day?
If there's an opening at one of the sites, then I would absolutely be more than happy to cover them as well. So
that's the right time to do it, by the way, because the team is getting better and better. I expect a lot for them, and maybe bring you, Jacob and Kevin, with us both together and talking about the Senator one night. If you're willing to do it, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, Jacob. Have an amazing, great night. Thanks to be a part of the show tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good night. Ladies and gentlemen, it was Jacob Billington from the HOCKEYBUZZ.com. Was talking about the the Winnipeg Jet and the Carolina Hurricane. That's complete. Finally, the last one of the week with all the guests we got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We really appreciate about this. But we're not going to get a couple of nights off. We're going to bring back the regular people for the rest of the week, talking about the main camp. You can leave me some question if you want to right now about the Montreal Canadiens. Open up their camp, honestly, today for you guys, your evening. They did their physical testing and all the kind of the picture, videos during the day about the different players. And then they're going to be back now on the real day number 1. We're going to be live. Not live, but we're going to talk about the resume of the day number 1 of the main camp. 74 players are going to be at that camp. And we talk about 44, 21, and 9 player goalies for the Montreal Canadiens. All the camp and NHL, they should be open now. You can looking for the roster. Some of them are not there as a RFA. Talk about Robinson for the Dallas, Sandin for the Toronto Maple Leaf, in the Hag or Agu, whatever you last pronunciation for the Vegas Golden Knights. 3 big pieces of the puzzle for each one of their team. Will be interesting what they're going to happening for the next couple of days. And that's a little bit, Dallas Star have to figure out something with Robinson, and then Toronto with Sandin. And all those stuff, guys, all about the salary cap. The problem with the salary cap, make a lot of team cannot move anybody. They cannot sign anybody. And that's a biggest problem they have before the season start. And really now it's the beginning of the season. The hockey is back. We're going to have a live stream tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Possible Marco in our tap will be interesting. One of the are available to join me. And we're going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens and every other team. And a lot of people asking me what happening with the HNL network report. They are coming next week. Michael DeVillano start to do it, and then we're still searching and add more people. Stratic is going to make his first video the next 48 hours, and then we have following by next week the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Colorado Avalanche, the Vancouver Canucks, and many others team and contributor to us is going to join us for the next month in October. So we appreciate each one of them to helping us about this. So we have a couple of questions in the house. Let's see what we have. Renaud said, is Price going to be around the camp? They have a conversation right now, or can you talk about possibility to keep Carey Price around the team, to use his leadership for that team? I would not be surprised, Renaud, Carey Price be around compared like Shea Weber did last season. I feel and I believe Carey Price be with the Montreal Canadiens at different ways. Zenit Gaming, welcome aboard. Thanks to be a part of the show. The Brinkat for the R. Ross. R. Ross. Will be interesting for that one for sure. Red Wing 2024 Stanley Cup Final. That gave us 2 years game. 25, 26, both of them. You know what I mean? Like 25, 26. I think 24 game would be too much early for them. I think they need to really be a part of this team one before they go there. But we'll be, you never know. The Brinkat 20 goal, no one to set him up. Disagree with you, Luc Lafortune. Wow, look. What about Claude Giroux? What about Josh Norris? What about Tim Souza? What about Patterson? What what I mean? Like, they are full of players right now to feed the Brinkat. Look, don't worry about this. He's going to be scored 35 goals for the upcoming year. No problem about this. Who gave the Vegas for the Vegas? So we have a couple of brothers. Shannon told Dubas no contract negotiation season, similar solution like Bergevin Lachey. You're absolutely right about this, Marco. There's friend between this, Marco, and Bergevin. Is Marc Bergevin have a contract on the table, and Marc Bergevin wait. So little bit difference. Right now, Dubas have no contract for sure. Great comments, Marco. He was talking about this. Nobody's surprised about this. I agree with you. Avalanche Vegas on Sunday prediction. William Snyder. It's a main cam, honestly, William. I don't see anything else. Pierre Martin will come back in the house. And what I said on the John Barker hype train, I'm not. I really not and the train about John Parker Jones. I understand he's a 6'7". I understand that he's a defenseman, but play for Windsor University, guys. So I was going to say something, and maybe you're going to bring me back in my nose on my face one day. I don't never see John Parker John play in NHL Pierre Martin. But I could be wrong here. I've been wrong before that, but I don't see definitely no career, and maybe one game, but I don't think so. I think he's not. He's missing too many things to be a regular defenseman, Pierre, in NHL. But you never know. Someone can make everything like that. Coach, my honest opinion, I would be trade. I don't think so, Adam. I don't see this, Adam. They need him. It's not a bad negotiation between him and the players. He's skating right now with the players, everything like that, Adam. It's just because the salary cap is the problem over there. So they just try to figure out what he can do, how many players will be on the London Patrick, on the Francois, Weber, Leonard, and when they're going to figure out everybody on the long-term injury reserve, that's possible to open up $2 million for Nicolas Ag. And again, they did pretty good at them on the contract of the young guest players. Like, they signed a couple of players like White Cloud, Nicolas Roy, long-term contract at low cost overall. But yeah. And it would be interesting to follow for sure about him. Luc Lavorsen, Claude Giroux, definitely all day long look about Claude Giroux. Look what he did with the Florida Panthers. Look the number of the point he did with the Florida Panthers when he got traded over there, 1 point per game, and he continues to perform at the playoff for the Florida Panthers compared to other players around him. Definitely about this. What about Buffalo, coach? Do you win the Stanley Cup? Until they don't get no goaltender game, I don't think so. Now, I understand they have Levi, Portillo, Luke Kokinen. They have a lot of prospect goaltender over there, but they need more. It's not Greg Anderson. It's not Eric Comrie. Comrie can step up a little bit more, but to put them all the way there, no. I think they missed a couple of pieces of the puzzle. They have a really young core of the defensemen over there, Bobby. And I understand you talk a little bit longer, but I still believe they're missing a couple of this game. Dubas has been all to put up. Renault, I think, is on the last. I think Adfen might be interesting on my rookie camp report. I will record coach tomorrow. Thanks so much, Triatic. Yeah, we're going to do that tomorrow. For me, it's tonight, by the way. We are all behind you, Stratic. You rock. Awesome. Parker John. The next Brett Burns. No. I don't know, guys. It's funny, you guys. You talk about like, what did you see for Parker Jones, guys? Like, I didn't see too much about him at the camp. It's not because he's 6'7", you're going to have a career in the NHL. Yeah, many 6'7" never make it. And for me, he's not fast. It's not like, he played defenseman and he played forward for the Montreal Canadiens. I don't know. Now, can he get a contract? Definitely. He could have a contract with the Montreal Canadiens, but the point to put him right away in NHL, no. William, is there a French request tonight? Yeah, it's coming very soon. Only to say that's not a big play both position. Dubas has a muzzle now as a Lambert. Stu. Yeah. Jose Duarte, welcome aboard. Kenny should be on the eye alert eye while he built this team about this. I don't know in our tap, but I understand what your point of view, but I don't know if Shanahan or Dubas take the decision about hockey operation, about pick this one, trade for this one. I don't know, but I'm not enough. I don't know too much about who run everything over there in our tap. By a great point. Cup adopt the out until the regular season. Anything to worry about? It was a news get out. Caleb, he got injury under Win a couple of weeks ago. Not what I learned, KLS. I didn't put on the top of the feed earlier, and I knew this morning. Look like he's going to be at the beginning of the season, so maybe miss a first week. But I will say to you, no. For what I learned. Is it all minor fault for seeing such a high AV not allowed, Renault? Is the team about this? It's like, is it Montreal Canadian fault or is it Carey Price? It's not Carey Price, it's the team about this. Coach, did you earn Lindgren is entering training camp? Yeah, Lindgren is another one. He's not going to start the training camp at the right time with some kind of injury. So he's going to be missing for right about this. Maxon back expected to take the ice for the start of the training camp, but he will likely be limited on Thursday. Jessica Gardner to a report Monday. You're absolutely right about him. And although that's it's all. I don't talk right now because I've tried to explain to you is I think sometimes we judge people only for the outcome of the one. The last season, they had one goal to beat Tampa Bay Lightning. They did pretty good. The team did an amazing, great season overall. They have only 16 teams make the playoff. They have only 8 teams make the second round. They have only 4 teams make the third round, and you have only 2 teams make the final Stanley Cup. The Edmonton did not make the final Stanley Cup. Do we blame Ken Holland? I think overall, Dubas, I don't say that a great job, but sometimes we have to give credit for what he did at some point. The team, since the last 3 years, is getting better, better, and better. Now, it did not go through the wall because the first round. But every year, they're getting closer and closer to go to the second round. And I think, unfortunately, it will never recognize it because he bring a team with 100 points. But the performance of the player did not do the outcome what their expectations are or the fans looking for. Again, I know said he's a great GM. But at the end of the day, when you have players, not 1, not 2, but 3, a double digit, it's almost impossible to have a team with balance from the top to the bottom. Again, it's not to want to be positive or take advantage or about Dubas. My point to you is like you have only 1 player with 1 double digit, and it make another way the team perform to not great because the salary cap percentage for each player is not the same. Look what I'm telling you right now. Look what happening with Colorado Avalanche. It will be harder and harder if the salary cap does not change. The beauty of Tampa Bay, no one have a double digit, and that's the key. If you're starting to have double digit number of your salary cap, somehow, somewhere, your defensemen, your goalies, or your bottom 6 forward are not going to be the same because you cannot offer those kind of contract or those kind of players you're looking for. So again, and I said Dubas is a great GM, but at some point he signed them. Maybe not him. Maybe it's a GM. Maybe it's the owners. Maybe Shannon. I don't know. But it's not easy. Do they would love to have Vasilevsky? I'm sure, but how they can trade it when you don't have no money? The credit card is full, but they put that direction because they believe it was Matthews, Marner, and Tavares. It was the core for what they're thinking about this. And when you realize with time, like you and me, it's not easy to add players around them to attract and to have better performance, because honestly, they are limited by their gesture because they have no money over there. But again, I still believe this year they're going to be an amazing, great year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I see number one in the Atlantic Division. I see them the top 2 team in Atlantic and the Eastern Conference. I see them go conference number 2, round number 2, a possible number 3. All depends. And I think for me the key is going to be Samsonov. And this boat go all the way down. They flip over the boat, but DUBAS is going to be all deep down in the ocean. He will never come back, and he'll be gone at the end of the day. And everybody is going to remember the trade they did, or they get Matt Murray. They're going to put him on his nose all day long about him. Anyhow, I'm sure I'm going to have some question here. How the HABS hiring all legs same for the Toronto operation? Look like they are. Marco, Scott Pellerin was another one. Stefan Rabidas another one. Adam Nicholson is another one. They got Bobrov for the New York Rangers. Yeah, Marco. Look like they believe on that one over there. So who would be the take for the over one of the quiz coming very soon? Exactly, Danny. I blame Raleigh coach Danny. A team that don't rip with somewhere maybe the second round. Sean McGuire, coach, what do you think of the seeking remark coming out of Montreal about PK? Like anybody else, Sean, they have up and down, negativity, positivity about this one over there. And some people, I listen a lot for the last 24 hours, guy, about 36 hours, about PK Subban retire, about people, what they are thinking. You have a lot of people for, they have people against at the same time. Maybe he was the one, he changed a lot of things in NHL, by the way. When I said that, he changed to realize to the players, you have other thing in hockey. I know it's the right or wrong here, but he was the one show up at the game with dress up like anybody else. And look now what they look like. Look how we pay attention to the dress up of the players when they go to the game. But Subban maybe was 10 years earlier like anybody else about business side, dress up, everything. And if you watch him, I'm going to make a video tomorrow, or I don't know where we are right now, but afternoon, whatever they are. A 3-minute video about Subban, when he did for the Montreal Canadiens as a scorer, like what he was. We don't remember, but for me, Subban's 6-7 years now. He's been not be with the Montreal Canadiens, but he was a unique, special player for the Montreal. It was eccentric. It was an electrician to see him play hockey at some point, and the fans love him. And now the people, some of them are against him. Yes, it was maybe not the best teammates player inside the locker room, like Keith Yandel example. He may be not rich, but for him, they have another life after hockey. His focusing changed with time to be focused on business and other way he fall in love. I'm not shocking he retired 33 years old, because hockey for him, I expect him a part-time job. Whatsoever he loved the game, whatsoever he enjoyed the skating, everything like this, you have other things he's attracted to do. He found a passion about. You have nothing against him. The guy gave his heart for the community, and the Montreal Canadiens gave $10 million. So at some point, you have to recognize him. I think you have some negativity. People talk against him. It was not right overall. So maybe it's another subject another time, but that's what I'm thinking about this. They will all know this mistake would make when they sign Tavares to that much money. The time will tell us, look, and unfortunately, yes. I'm sorry. John Jerry's Dark Horse I'll be able to go with the speed. It would be ready for the N3 to trade or whatever. Possible. Possible. Do you blame the owners for interfering with GM and coaches? Some are quiet, some are into it, some want to get their spotlight over there, and some they are really involved. And unfortunately, that's not the right things, I believe. But I can understand you own the team, so you want to be a part. But again, I think if you hire someone, you should let him do his own job, whatsoever you need to report. I think every business, everything you do, like any sport or any team, you have the owners, the CEO, the president, the GM, the assistant GM, everything like that. And the owner should, everybody is hired, we give the okay, he should get a report, but not say, oh no, I want, let's go get John Tavares, right? And I think that's, but some of them are really involved. Excuse me, Bobby. If the league keep Kadri instead of signing Tavares, would they have make a quarterfinal by now? Great question about this. I agree with the coach. Holistic look on this. However, was not it. Dubois has signed those players to those huge contracts. Do you have a choice? I don't think so. In our tap. Is it Marc Bergevin signed a contract with Piquet Subban? Is it Marc Bergevin signed a contract with Carey Price? I don't think so. It was Molson. He said, yes, gave you that money. So for me, when Marner asked for $11 million, is it Dubois say yes, or someone over him told him, yes, you can give that money to him? But you're welcome, Danny. I don't know, Marco, but Urbani will be been less. I will tell you guys something will help more. What are just missing make the playoff, Dan? Defenseman, Danny. Bottom six, two other players, Danny. And the chemistry with synergy between this organization overall, Dan, with leadership. There could be a Toronto year and choke, Pierre Martin. Yep. And they keep Kadri, they will have 5-6 million spent on the rest of the lineup. Marco, he bears some water bottle. Piquet was a breath of fresh air in Montreal. You're absolutely right. Look, you great comments about this one over there. Pourquoi des ridiculous contract was giving Tavares a manner fan down. Piquet retiring so early show how much Bergevin overpay him at 9.5 AAV equal 8. Okay, is a sack on the old tradition. Nobody told me in the chat so far. Nathan McKinnon was signed a contract 5 years at $5.6 million. Nobody complaining about that kind of money. McKinnon should make $9 million like 3 years ago. You know, do you believe Vasilevsky is at why Vasilevsky is not the highest pay in goalies in NHL? And I can go all the way like that, right? That's what we are. That's what it works. And it is what it is, unfortunately, right? That's the market. Who care what they wear is career that Subban was the best in 2010 around Washington, Pittsburgh. I think for me, Subban was the best in 20 run with Washington, Pittsburgh. Subban came play 2 games during his career at the beginning of the 2010, and he joined the Montreal Canadiens in the playoff. He played under the wing of Al Gill. Honestly, his series against 16-17, I believe, 16-17 against Boston Bruins was his best. About his Kelly Minor contract is good. I think there is not so much. Witness podcast about Piquet today. Which the sick podcast about Piquet today. Piquet's best year. The best left the leave and the old with early handicap rule. Minor poor penalties will be everything like that. I would give prop all day to Piquet for his phenometric way on Montreal, but he was also all day on the ice. Who was the French first Minor or Mathieu? Who is free As is the first one, I believe it's Matthews. Yep, Matthew 24, 23, 24. My best moment of the week is a hit on Marchand. Yep, it's one of my video. I'm going to get there. Thank you, Bobby. Agrandi, thanks, Lucky. Cole, do you think the Canadiens are into farming farm players for future trade, etc.? You know, that would be our top. When you accumulate Pierre prospect, they are 51 and they're at some point they will have to. It's a Mizak, Roy, Riley, Norlander, Iris, I don't know. But it's called values of your asset, your value of your team increasing. So if you try to looking for, I don't know, a solid player like Kyle Connor for Winnipeg, right? It's okay, let's make a trade. But now they can trade a lot of value of the prospect what other team are attract. Now, obviously, they are not all first round pick, right? Like Neil Longvis just could trade a 28 overall pick. But you have to, the value of the player have to get better and better to get better in return. The Montreal have that kind of facility now to do it. Maybe not right at this moment, but next year, the Sean Farrell, the Lane Hudson, the Arbor, and I don't say they have to trade them. I just said they have value to trade for something better and to at the point where the Montreal could get a solid goaltender and NHL. That's something like that. Word of the day, synergy, this one over there, would be the first to jump out the plane. Look as going down. They can sign Barrett. Arizona can sign 2 years, a 3.55 contract with Barrett Ayton. By such ceremony. McKinnon took a lower salary to play hockey for the best team in NHL. And now he went around the Monopoly board past ago. Was well paid, then now he went to wrestle and he does not play in Detroit, but that's shown on the playing channel. I hope Max Shifley stay with the Winnipeg Jets. 24 players, someone to go for a shirt. Look, would you want to stay after the C taking away? It's happened a lot, KLS and in NHL. The last one, honestly, it was Joe Thornton. When you talk about a veteran player with Blake and Weller, if you sit with him, explain everything on this possible, I do believe they will understand more what we're thinking. And they are professional, everything. But I can understand you disappointed at some point, for sure. But I think they go through this very well. That's how the team will be better. It could be done. Exactly. Can only 50 contract at one time. Yep. Martin said the high water and the market for PK a price a mess his shot on both positions. But that's happened all the time. And again, you talk about Dubas, you talk about Marc Bergevin. But what about David Poile over there? What about Jim Nell with a Dallas Star? What about Minnesota Wild with Rand Sutter and Parisi? What about San Jose Sharks, Doug Wilson with Carlson, with Burns, with Lezik? And I can go right. We can go every team, the Philadelphia Flyers and the team, and it's not easy, but it's just a part of the game, right? You get about how many players sign a contract this year. Kadri is another one. Miller is another one. The 30 years old Huberdeau is another one. Those players, in 5 years, when they're going to get 34, 35, 36, 37, we're going to talk about them. Or it was a bad contract. Possible? I don't know. But that's a part of the game. That's a one piece of the game. And some of them make the team go backwards, like the Toronto Maple Leafs possible with John Tavares. And they realize now for the last 2 years, they don't want to give money to the goaltender position because they believe now they don't need a goaltender at $9-10 million to win the Stanley Cup. I understand the case of Vasilevsky, but usually they would prefer to have a goaltender at $5 million, $6 million, like happened with Comper with the Colorado Avalanche, the Crawford or the Jonathan Quick, and to keep lower money and to get that money to spend for maybe a 2 players or 3 players or maybe 1 player, where it become a key role inside of that team. So I just want to share with you guys about this one over there. I know we hit the 11 o'clock almost for you guys, and it's time to go to what? Time to go right there. Amos lost in the trade for Weber. Montreal lost in the trade for Weber. Disagree with you, Renaud, about this one over there. You just told me a few minutes ago, Renaud, they gave $9.5 million for Subban. That's right. The last 4 years of his contract, so half of them, do you believe Subban played for $9.5 million in NHL? Do you believe with Subban and not Weber, do you believe Montreal Canadiens have a better years? I don't think so. No need the all-star goalie anymore. Look, I completely disagree, Renaud. I agree with you. Because he have just won the All Trophy. Prize the money of this and doing about. That's not 36 likes. William a great flame would be good because not next season after contract. Subban played great in Montreal, only Namtal. Yeah, I can agree with you about this one over there. And Stu, you're wrong again. Just kidding.
Oh my God!
It was too easy one to let you know that one. About this. It's time, guys, to that. Here we go. The leader of the September in our top 5.5, Andy Quivula still lead at behind in our top at 3.5, but Vinny jumped at 2.5 over Marco and Nicolas de Gobi, de Bono. And then this is all the winner we got this year for year number 3, guys. This is the leaderboard of the contest. Here we go, guys. Today we have an easy contest, guys. I'm sure you're going to be fine with that one over there. How many goals Trevor Zegras did during the shootout last season? Shootout only, not a penalty shot. 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals, 6 goals, 7 goals. How many goals Trevor Zegras did during the shootout last season? Good luck, everybody. Thank you, Chicago. Ron with King, Jose, Brendan, welcome back. Renaud B, thank you. William A, Bobby, welcome back. A. Wow, it's slow. Look like person A. Stu A. I thought it was E, Stu. Marco C. Danny C. Danny copy Marco. I don't know. Maybe Bobby. Pierre C. Vinny B. Here we go, guys. And I'll tap C. Andy B. Wow. Really? Kelly A.
Oh my God!
But ladies and gentlemen, guys, I don't know why, but RJ D. The answer, guys, is D. And we have 2 good answers. RJ at the last minute and Run with King had 6 goals for Trevor Zegras in NHL last season. Congratulations for the 2 people have the good answer of that one.
Oh my God!
How many players had 9 at 10 shootout last season in NHL? How many of them shoot 9 times on the shootout in NHL minimum 2 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them, or 8 of them. Danny. Zenit, go with D. Thanks so much, Zenit. Chicago C, RGC, Zenit. I don't know what was the question number 1. Ron D. Brendan C. Whoa. Bobby E. Renault C. Danny C. Kelly B. Nicolas C. Nicolas, welcome back, by the way. Luc Laperson E. Jose E. Andy A. William B. Marco B. Akobi RJ. Then we have Vinny C. Pierre Martin D. Anybody else? I did not see Enartap. Enartap said B. Pierre said 8. E. All right. Half point. Here we go, guys. The answer this one. The answer is it's B. Congratulations. Jose trying to see. It was too late. Jose, anyway, it was wrong. The answer this one. Kelly win. Marco win. William Snyder win. And Enartap win. Join our round 20 and RJ. All of them have a good answer after 2. Let's go move on to question number 3. You know, question 3, guys, is always the half of the under, over, or exact. How many points total the Hurricanes did during the playoff last season? 102 points all together, all the players, including the goaltender. Under, over, or exact? How many points they did during the playoff last season? 102 points. Nicolas go exact. Chicago go with exact. Welcome back, Chicago. RJ go with exact. I said exactly, Danny. All exact. Jose go with C. Ron with A. Renault with B. Thanks so much. Luke go with A. William with A. Thanks so much. We have I copy myself. Zenit go with C. Sometimes you maybe win, Danny. You never know. Bobby A. Stu B. Thank you. Andy B. Pierre Martin B. Marco Larabi C. Thank you. Here we go. Vinny go with A. Vinny is 0-2 so far. Maybe the first time tonight. Nadal go with D. And Atal go with A. Kelly with A. And that's conclude, guys. This one over there.
Oh my God!
And so this one, ladies and gentlemen, is A. And the winner of this one are Vinny, Bobby Bagadonats, Luc Lafortune, Enartap scored twice, William Snyder scored twice, Kelly scored twice, Ron Weekend scored twice. We have a lot of people right now take the lead on this one. Question number 4. Yeah, Stu. How many French goaltender Kane and Jets together used last season and 2020-2021? How many goaltender they used during the season? 5 of them, 6 of them, 7 of them, 8 of them, or 9 of them? Thank you, Danny. Nicolas go with A. Thanks so much, Nicolas. Danny go with E. No copy anybody. Danny is trust himself this tonight. William go with C. Thanks so much. About this one over there. Ron with King go with D. Thanks so much. Appreciate a lot. Ron with King. Zenit go with D. Renault go with D. Jose go with B. Thank you so much. Stu go with C. Stu is 0-3 so far. We don't tell anybody. And our tab go with C. Thanks so much. And then we have Marco with E. Kelly with A. Bobby with E. Pierre-Martin B, Luc Lafontaine D, RJ A, Chicago E, Andy Couillard go with B. Here we go. Andy B. And I'll type copy me again, as Stu said. And Nathan go with A.
Oh my God!
If I get this one, I will fall on my chair. There we go. The answer, guys, is C. No, Danny. You don't have to don't fall. You have to stand up. And we have right now the winner, William Snyder, and NR take the lead at 3. Whoa, we have a game, guys. We have a game until to the end today. Congratulations, Stupidazo. Score on that one. Here we go. Which statement is not true below from last season? Shifley has 2 hat-trick. Nicolas Heller had 2 penalty shots. Blake Wheeler had 2 shootout attempts. Eric Comrie gave 2 goals and 6 attempts and shootout. And 15 players born and USC play for the Winnipeg Jets. This is all about, honestly, the Winnipeg Jets. Good luck, everybody. And Danny, he go with A already. Nicola with E. Thanks so much. We have RJ D, Renault C, Zenith E. Thanks so much, everybody. We have a tie game between William and in our top so far. Jose Eduardo go with D. Nandal go with C. Bobby get B. Luc Lafontaine with E. We have Andy go with D. Marco go with B. William with A. And Artav go with E. Then we have Ron with C. Stu with E. Vinny with D. Waiting for William Snyder, go with A. And who we have? Pierre Martin with C. Luc Lafontaine with E. Kelly with D. Anybody else? Ron with King said C. The good news and the bad news. I don't know which one you want to hear. Chicago go with A. First of all, let's go with that way. Danny is 0-5 today. And that's what we had at this moment. That's one thing I can tell you. And not many people got that answer, by the way. And
Oh my God!
the answer of this one, guys, is B. Nicolas Heller had 2 penalty shots. It was false. Mark Shifley and Nicolas Heller have one of them. Both of them have 1 penalty shot for a total of 2 for the Winnipeg Jet. We have 15 players play born in the USA play for the Winnipeg Jet. Comrie gave 2 shots and 6 attempts. Wheeler has only 2 shot attempt and shootout. Heller, honestly, was B. Shifley have 2 hat-trick for the Winnipeg Jet. And that's conclude, guys, the show of the day. And the winner of the show in our top tie the game with William Snyder, first time win today. This one, and that gave them, guys, 1 point for the game today. And NR now take the lead and System himself with and the leaderboard. Congratulations every day. Andy Couillard. We should go with when you get 0-5, you go minus Andy. Just kidding. And here we go, guys. We finished the show now. We thanks Jacob Billington to be with us tonight. This is the end of the week with the guests. We are back next week. We have Flying Floaty. We have Liam McGuire, and some other are coming next week to join us. We're going to talk about the Summit, the Summit Series 1972 next week, of course. But tomorrow night for the show, it's all about the main camp for the Montreal Canadiens and other camp around the league. So coming back tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Don't forget to miss my app Daily News tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Definitely, we're going to have some of the panelists like Marco and Artap. I'll be back during the week for the rest of the week. So we thank each one of you for participation tonight. And of course, don't forget, please, to click on the like, subscribe to our Canadian Show, and definitely leave me a comment below to any video we do.
You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you.
That's it. That's all for another HNL Tonight show with the hockey coach, your coach Frenchy. Until the next time, my friend, of course, be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, find a way to dominate your second half of what? 2022. Happy fall, everybody. And of course, we love you people. Have an amazing, great night, everybody. Great night, Bobby, Marco, Synergy, Vinny James, Luther Boston, Stu Pidasso, William Snyder, congratulations in our top two, Pierre Martin, Jose Duarte, Kelly, Nicolas de Bobby Bono, RJ, One with Kings 20, Luciano Graziano, Stu. Well, thank you so much. We want to thank all the insiders of the Hockey National Show. Be a part of the show at any time. All the contributors, Kevin Hans, Ross Cohen, Nick Larivière, moderator, all of you tonight. And after that, Danny T, Ron with King, Jose Duarte, and Luciano, the helper, Jose, Yamo Vertanen is coming very soon, RJ Cadabro, and Roger L. We did not see the brother tonight, but we think about him. We wish him an amazing, great day tomorrow, for sure. Il y a seulement 3 questions sur le quiz ce soir. Non, t'en as manqué 2, mon Nicolas, malheureusement. Chicago Bear, welcome back, and then have an amazing, great night. We want to thank Randy Walkman tonight for his participation. Another great human being inside the Hockey National Show. Now we love Randy to be with us and talk about the plan. We will definitely invite him at some point. The Captain, thanks so much, my friend. Thank you, Luciano, for everything. Miss Kelly, always a pleasure. We want to thank Nat Lafont came at some point. William McCleary, Roger Delany, Bruno. Thanks so much again. And many others, if I did not mention your name, I apologize. Cannot remember everybody. Beautiful weather in Pan Am, ladies and gentlemen.
I do really want to know what's going on now. Is this another breakdown? You and me, should I